Oh, I thought I clicked the... Interesting. Okay, sorry about that. Yes, so my name's Jeremy. I'm going to be streaming some planets tonight. And we're going to be looking at Jupiter first because it just so happens that the Great Red Spot is going to be moving away from us. And there's also a transit of Io tonight, which we might just be able to pick up the shadow. If not, you can, of course, stay tuned for the Facebook images that we post, which will be a processed version of what we do tonight. We'll actually stack some of the videos I take, and then we'll get some more clarity out of it, and hopefully see the shadow of Io on Jupiter. All right, so let me bridge us over to the Zwo camera here. Now I'm going to get rid of a few things that we don't need anymore. This part of the stream. I don't need that. We did make it that previous goal. That counter isn't working right now, but the previous goal was 500 subscribers last week, and we did bridge that gap. I think we're at 509 subscribers now, which is pretty cool. I'm glad that everyone seems to be enjoying these live streams, and we will continue doing them. Of course, if you are in a position to do so, you can support us through the donation link in the video description. It should say Streamlabs, and that'll take you to a place where you can donate. Okay, let's see. That's that. My camera. So now I just got to get the camera software showing, which sometimes it remembers it, sometimes it doesn't. And it looks like tonight it's not going to remember. So we're going to tell it where we want it to go. There we are. All right, so that should be showing up on your end now. That is Jupiter and one of its moons, which I'll be able to look at those in more depth in just a few minutes. We'll figure out where the moons are and what they are. Ooh, possibly a satellite that we just saw. Most likely a satellite. Maybe we'll see a few of those tonight. It looks like there's a star in our image as well. I don't think that's a moon. Usually the moons are all in a nice line, so that's most likely a star. I can figure out what that one is too. But let's get some detail here. Let's see. We gotta go to these settings here. We'll adjust the exposure and we'll adjust the gain. Ah, there's Jupiter. Now I'm going to use one of the, well, no, maybe we can bring it into clearer view. All right, so we are still pretty, oh, I think I see the red spot. Let's see if we can focus this a little better. It's going to be a little shaky for a sec. Zoom in here so I can see the detail come into focus. Other way. Yeah, right now that's about as detailed as we're going to get, but you can see both the Great Red Spot towards the lower, it's the lower band. So the leftmost sort of brownish band at the bottom, the Great Red Spot is right there. You'll actually see it coming in pretty red. And then there's also a dark spot along the rightmost band, the rightmost brown band, and that is the shadow of Io. Those should be coming out pretty nicely. Let's see. Oh, Melissa, is the audio not working for you either? I wonder why. It looks like it's responding on my end, but let me go ahead and take a look at this, what you guys are seeing. see if I can work out if there is a problem. Oh, you can? Okay, good. Good. All right. Yep, looks like the shadow of Io is coming in pretty nicely there. It's still relatively low in the sky. It's going to get a little bit higher as the night goes on. But the imaging conditions tonight are not ideal. That's why we're not really going to be focused on many deep sky objects. It'll just be planetary and the moon tonight because it's just not looking super great. With let's see, we are well past half moon now. We're on waxing gibbous there, so those will mostly be our looks tonight. But I do want to try out some new imaging capabilities that we have for more wide field stuff. So if you stick around towards the end, we'll do a bit of prototyping, and maybe you guys can help me figure out what looks best on your end. So you'll get a little sneak peek because we're developing some ideas to share the Perseid Meteor Shower, and we have a couple of different options for that. So we'll try that towards the end. Unfortunately, this moon will still be out, so we won't see a lot of stars in the sky no matter what method we use, but it'll at least give me an idea of how things are going to work. Okay, so let's take a look at Jupiter some more. I will eventually take a video here to maybe process some of this, because I've never imaged the Great Red Spot. This is my first time. But it is going to rotate out of view. Probably around 11 we'll stop seeing it, maybe just after that. As it moves towards the edge of our view of the planet, it'll become less clear. So yeah, that moon's coming in nice. That moon shadow's pretty decent. So that's the shadow of Io. All right, let's see if we can get a full view of the moons here. So we already know Io's in front of the planet, so that one's accounted for. I think the rest of them are on one side, but let's find out. There's two. Maybe the Callisto is way off to the side. Usually it is. Wow, ooh, so far out. So I can almost certainly say that one that's at the very top of your screen is Callisto. So usually that's the furthest reaching one. It's on the outer orbit. Let's see what else we have. So you have Io's in front. On the far out, we have Callisto. The one after Callisto is Europa. And the one closest to the planet that we can see right now is Ganymede. So let's go back down. So yeah, closest bright moon to Jupiter is Ganymede, and then Europa is on the top of that image right now, and Callisto's out of view because it's so far out. Let's see where Io exactly is on the planet. Oh, it's just above the spot, if you're interested in the perspective there. All right, so pretty cool. Pretty cool. And let's see, actually I should check to see when we're going to lose the spot. Yeah, around 10:30 it'll be on the very edge. And oh, that's sort of right around the same time we lose the spot, we lose the shadow. So that's why I wanted to observe Jupiter first tonight, because there's those two interesting things we haven't seen yet. It's a nice transit and the Great Red Spot. So let's go back to actually being able to see those. So we can, of course, view the moons around the planet at any time. Oh, good. It sounds like the audio is working for everyone now. All right. Good. I'm glad. Let's bring some detail to the surface. There go the moons. Yep. Might try playing with the oh, look, yeah, if you watch that dark spot. Ooh, actually, it's some pretty decent seeing right now. I'm going to take a video. Because that shadow is much clearer now. And the Great Red Spot is showing up much nicer as well. Yeah, you can almost make out that shadow is a nice dot on the planet. We can zoom in a bit. Yep. Both of those coming in pretty nicely. Nice. So we'll observe Jupiter for a little while. And then we'll jump over to the moon, and then we'll go to Saturn. The moon will be a little bit of a different perspective tonight. We're going to sort of tour the moon with the ZWO camera. That way we'll get a nice, really zoomed in view of craters and the seas, rather than a full view of the moon. But it'll be sort of a cool tour. Maybe we'll find Kopernik crater should be out. Maybe we'll try for that. So the comet is still visible through, I think it's still visible through binoculars. But I think we're starting to get to the point where we're pushing it. I'll have a look out tonight and see if I can see it at all with the naked eye, but I don't think it can. Like last week, it was pretty much on the cusp. And I know a few people couldn't even spot it with their eye anymore. So I would say, binoculars and telescopes, it's definitely still visible. And cameras can, of course, get some decent pictures. But I saw a few pictures recently where the tail is much more diffuse. And you can tell the comet is starting to wane. But it did put on a great show. That was an awesome experience. But unfortunately tonight we probably won't get much out of because we'd still be trying to image with a phone, and we just wouldn't be able to pull much detail at this point from it. We just barely got through last week with that setup, but oh, Drew says it's about a 6 now. So, yep. Yeah, not much luck there. Oh, yeah, good point. Oh, I see your new blue. Yes, yeah, I see your picture there. Yeah, good point. The moon is also our issue tonight. Okay. Let's center our view a bit here. Away. Again, tonight we are using the 6-inch once again. It's been serving us well for these streams. Last week we tried the 14, but I just couldn't achieve prime focus with the ZWO camera. And I didn't get the chance to talk with the Astro Society more about that yet. So I'll see if they have any tips for next time. I tried a few different adapters and I just couldn't quite get it right. Oh, I should stop these files get huge And of course, the longer you take, the more frames you have to play with. But I also don't want to fill up my hard drive on my computer just for one video of Jupiter. And also, the planet will start to change enough. It has a 9-hour rotation. So if you take too long of a video, the lighter frames will be significantly different from the earlier frames. So stacking won't really work as well. But I think right now we're recording at a higher frame rate, so we can capture more in a shorter period of time, capture more frames, which is great. That way you can just take a slight, short 1 minute, 2 minute burst of video, and that'll be enough for you to produce a decent image. And again, if you want to see these images, we've been posting the results on Facebook. So the link to our Facebook page is in the video description if you'd like to check us out and see what images we produce in the end. It's pretty good. I'm going to play with the focus a little bit more here. See if we can get any crisper a view now that the sky has seemed to get a little bit better. I think that's about as good as we can get, but I would say that's pretty decent. Not as good as a few of the nights we've had, but that's okay. We'll get some cool features in this image. And maybe when we get to... one thing I do want to try is put together a time-lapse of Jupiter's rotation. And maybe a time-lapse of the Jupiter's moons orbiting. They might have to be two different things, but I think that'd be pretty neat to see. It's really cool. Like, of course, we'll notice the difference when we come back to Jupiter later. We'll notice that the red spot has rotated away, and that the moon shadow has actually. We probably have noticed a bit of moon shadow movement across that band there, because it's supposed to move across the surface pretty quick if it's going to rotate away at around 10:30 or so. Let's double check that. Yeah, I think my application has the position of Io a little bit incorrect. It's not too far off, but it seems like our shadow's appearing... Yeah, it's appearing more on the upper side rather than the lower side. If anyone's interested in this app I'm using, it's called Redshift. It's a really good phone-based planetarium program. So a lot of them don't show you moon positions and transits like this, but it actually has a pretty good graphic system inside that will show you to a fair bit of accuracy. Like tonight, I was able to predict with this that Io is going to pass in front, and that is the case. It just seems to be a little bit off from where we're expecting it to be. But it's pretty close. Not bad. All right, let's see. I gotta jump back into the chat here. Yeah, Blue, the sweet spot is hard to get there, and you're also like fighting the seeing right now. You can see how wavy it is. So depending on where you are in the focus, it might appear more focused at one point and then you lose it. But we can keep trying here. I would like to get it a little bit better if I could, because the first video I have isn't perfect. Of course, nothing's perfect, but let's see if I can adjust it a tad better. might be a touch better. Yeah, that's not bad. I'm seeing more bands, I think. Going to bring up the live stream on my end so I can, if I want to add any links or anything like that, I can put those in the chat as necessary. Channel. Okay, let's see. Also, I do, well, I have a good group here. I do want to announce that we are having a watch party for the return of Robert Behnken and Douglas Hurley. Douglas Hurley, of course, is our local astronaut, grew up in Owego. So if you are looking for something to do on Sunday, tune into YouTube or Facebook. We'll be holding watch parties on both platforms. And you can chat with us, and we'll hopefully be able to answer some questions, and it'll be a good time. We're excited to see them return home after a very successful mission. Okay. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Yep, fingers crossed for re-entry there. Let's see here. All right, let me see if I can take another. It looks like the scene dropped a little bit again. Wonder. Oh, yeah, there is a wispy cloud right nearby. So I wonder if we're getting some effects from that. Nothing large at all. It's not going to be a problem, but that might be why we're experiencing a little bit more turbulence right now. But as that passes, I'm hoping we will get a little bit better seeing them. It's not terrible by any means, but not great for imaging right now. Every so often it comes into a nice clear view. Yeah, why not? I'll take another video. Let's check the chat here. Let's see, are we at opposition with Jupiter? I can probably check that on my watch. Or at least give you an approximation of how close we are. Gotta switch to the right watch here. There's Earth. We are, looks like 20 days or so past opposition. So it's still pretty decent. We're actually more at opposition with Saturn. A little bit closer there. It's like 15 days away, or 15 days ago we were at opposition. And of course, we'll reach opposition with Mars. I think that's, I can't remember the day. October, some mid-October I think it is, for opposition of Mars. That's why all the Mars missions are launching right now, so they can. We're approaching Mars, so now all the robots are just sort of swarming to the red planet from Earth as the Earth makes its close approach. And that was a good successful launch Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday morning. We had a good live stream, a good watch party for that launch, and it was perfect. They got it, and it's. I think I saw today. NASA posted they put 1 million miles on Perseverance. Put 1 million miles on the odometer there. So, we wish that mission well. Yep, it's booking it. Booking it to Mars. This is interesting. Trying to get a sense of which way Io is moving. My app told me one way, but now it almost looks like... No, I mean, either way it would be following. I wonder if are we seeing a bit of the... There's something on the very top of our image. I can't tell if that's a part of Jupiter or if we're just about to see Io. Yeah, right now we're only seeing the presence of Io. But I wonder if we can actually spot the moon itself. My guess is no, because the exposure levels are extremely different. Because you can see we are only just at the very top of our image, you can see Ganymede. And it's just barely there. So in order to spot it, I have to turn the exposure or the gain on the camera up. But yeah, I don't know. There's a weird little bright thing at the very top of Jupiter. I'm glad the red spot is showing up so nicely. It's just starting to cross into the upper band? Oh, okay. Interesting. So yeah, my app isn't quite right then. I guess we'll see what it looks like when it's processed, because that'll be pretty cool. I'm going to stop it, because I think I have enough data there on that one. The more I look at it, the more it does look like a moon. Like something that's not part of Jupiter. Something that's in front of it. Or just in front of it. And if the sunlight is shining, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's do another video. I'm not sure if we'll be able to officially confirm this tonight or not, but after processing, maybe. It's just chilling right on the edge there. Oh, it's just leaving. Okay, so yeah, it's not. All right. Okay, cool. So then we might see a similar view of it that we saw with, what moon was it? Europa, maybe? Or was it Ganymede? One of the two, pretty sure. When we saw it emerge from behind. This will be instead passing in front. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Ganymede. The more I think about it. Yeah, if you look, I think it is getting further away, getting more on the edge there. I wonder if I'll stop this video in just a moment. If we play around with the gain or exposure, maybe we can brighten that spot up a bit without overexposing Jupiter too much. Let me center this. I should stop the video. Should have stopped it before I started moving it around. That's okay. Oh yeah, that's definitely Io. That's pretty cool. So now we've seen emerging from behind, and now it's appearing from in front. So that we actually will lose Io sooner than the red spot. We actually might have the red spot around for a while tonight. Based on how Jupiter is going to rotate. It should be moving away from the bottom of our view here of Jupiter. So it's gonna keep moving right. So we might be able to get some more views of it later. I thought the application was saying we were gonna lose it by 10:30, but this is good. I'm glad that won't be the case. Seems like Io is more accurate than where the red spot was gonna be. I suppose given that the weather on Jupiter is dynamic, those bands are dynamic, it would be harder to update that. Whereas the moon in its orbit is predictable. But the surface of Jupiter is still somewhat dynamic. Oh yeah, that's definitely Io. Sure, Corey. So right now we are using the 6-inch refractor here at Kopernik. It is an f12 focal ratio. So it's a really long telescope. And it's on a equatorial tracking mount. So it does not automatically find objects. This isn't a go-to telescope. It's a push-to. And but it will track them. It has a motor built in, so it will track planets. It'll track the moon. It can make those slight alterations to keep tracking those different objects throughout the night. Especially the moon, because the moon is noticeably different compared to the stars throughout one evening. And so the camera is a ZWO. I might have to look it up quick. I always forget the model name, but I can put it in the chat. ZWO. It's their planetary imager. Yeah, there it is. So it's a ZWO. I'll put this in the chat for you. ZWO ASI 224. 224 MC, I think it is. Oh no! We ran out of disk space, I guess. Alright, I'll have to move some things around. I was worried about that. I only have like 256 gigs to work with on my computer right now. I could probably put my flash drive in. Just put it on there, but that's okay. I know why it's full. I think I have some videos from last time that I don't necessarily need. Let me make sure I send that in the chat though. I got distracted. So here's the camera. And the software I use is called ASI Studio, which yeah, it's free software. ASI Studio. This is for the software. Oh yeah, look at that. Awesome. Let me see if I can get rid of some of this. Let's see, 7. This is today, even though it's not quite August 1st yet. Yeah. This was the other day. And I do not need these. At least I think that's the case. 2027. Yeah. That should be the case. All right, let's get rid of this one then. Empty the trash there. All right, let's play around with the exposure a little, just so we can see I/O a little brighter there. And then I'll take a few more images and we'll bounce over to the moon. Yep, there it is. Really cool. There is Io, just on the edge there, and Ganymede. So I probably have a little bit more storage space to work with. So maybe I can do one more video of this. This is probably the newest thing we're going to see tonight. It's the Great Red Spot and Io. Besides the prototyping we're going to do. Of course, the moon will be a little different too because we're going to tour around it. But Saturn doesn't really have too much going on besides it looking awesome, of course, because Saturn is always amazing to look at. Sure thing, Corey. Happy to help. actually have to move the dome, I think. We're getting to that point, so I'm gonna move the dome here. There'll be a bit of a racket for a moment. And also, before I forget, I am going to run inside because I forgot my charger, and we're already pushing to half battery. Streaming takes a lot, so I am going to go run inside quick to grab that. So just give me a minute. Okay, I am back. And I just gotta plug this in. Oh wait, oh yeah, see I already dropped 2% in that short time I was inside. Gotta lift my laptop up for a second to get my charger out of the bag it's sitting on. There we go. I think this process is getting more streamlined as time goes on, which is good. I haven't run into too many problems besides still trying to figure out the 14-inch. The best way to image out of that one, and then eventually we'll see if we can get the 20-inch streaming, maybe someday. Let's see. But as I said, our next goal is to try to get some wide field images for you, so we can hopefully maybe see the Perseids. Oh wow, look at that, looks a lot better. It really is, yeah, it's just coming in and out. Clarity, but I think it's improving. I want to see if I can get that's 100. I'm going to adjust the focus one more time and then maybe take one more video. That's pretty good. Yeah, look at that. Cool. Yeah, I think that's what we're... Earlier, we were in a bit of a cloud as well, Lou. Not a very thick cloud, just a wispy one, and I think we were just getting the edge of that for a while, but now it's improved. Yeah, isn't it so cool that you really do notice the rotation every time you look back at it? You can see, especially with a structure as defined as the spot, it's really easy to tell that, yeah, the planet is rotating before our very eyes. Much faster rotation than us. 4.5 hour day. A light blue filter. I wonder where one is. That I do not know. I'm still trying to find my way around all the KAS stuff. Oh, let's see. I want to image one more time because I think we're just about to lose the shadow. Yeah, it looks like it. It's right on the cusp there. Yeah, look at that. The clarity in and out, but occasionally you get that nice crystal clear view of it. Oh, it's good to know, Lou. I will. It's a good tip. I will have to see if I can find one. pause, or not, rather, stop the recording here. I'll put it a little more centered. We're seeing dropped off a little bit more there again, but yeah, it's coming back. Yeah, Blue, I don't do enough. I really should do more binocular viewing, but I can imagine, yeah, especially as more and more of those Starlink, yeah, Starlink satellites go up. But just all the stuff that's out there already too. I can imagine you can see quite a bit. They pop into our view often enough when we're viewing the planets here. Let's see. Okay. I think we've seen, well, maybe I'll do one last, I keep saying this is going to be my last video, but I still see a bit of the shadow there, just on the edge. So I'm going to do one more. And also the spot is almost dead center now, which is pretty cool to see. Some violet fringing on the image of Jupiter. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think I see what you mean. You mean the Lou? You mean the sort of blue, and then there's also a bit of red, I guess, on the other side as well. Or is that? Or maybe I'm not seeing the same thing. You know, I don't know if it's an Apo or not. I'm sure someone knows, but I'm not sure myself. Let's see. All right, we are going to transition to the moon in just a moment here. Maybe we'll come back for the spot again a bit towards the end. But yeah, let's go on over to the moon. Let's get some nice lunar observing in. Okay. I do have to adjust the dome for that. That should be good. Ooh, there it is. Ooh. All white screen. Huh. All right, we'll work on that. Get some exposure settings here. That's not bad. Get my paddle. We'll do a little tour. Okay. We'll look along the terminus here at first, because that's where we get some really crisp craters. Let's see if I can adjust the focus bit here. That's a little better. You can really see the haziness though. I wonder if I can get it so that crater there, where it's getting a lot of, yeah, right there, it's still overexposed. Higher region. There we go. Sorry, I'm just looking at my options here. Okay. See if we can zoom out a bit just to give myself some more bearings as we look around. I'm gonna turn my rate up. better. So I'm just gonna tour around the moon here first. We'll look around the edges. Oops. So I think that's Americrisium? I think I can tell by that crater there. With that sort of star shape to it. A bright crater right next to it. Let's see if we can clear that up a little better. Yeah, there we go. There's that crater. So I think that's Americrisium. I'm just trying to catch my bearings so we can... Having it zoomed in here, it's not as easy, but I think I've identified that right. So that's one of the C's, and that crater should be... Let's see its name here. Proclus, I think it's called. Proclus crater. Means the successor. That was a pretty good identifier because that has a very unique, that crater has a very unique shape to it. That star shape comes from the ejecta. So when the meteor rock actually hits the moon, you get the crater impact, but the material also has to go somewhere from that impact. So it gets flung quite a distance because the moon has less gravity. Yeah, that one in particular, that in Tycho is another big impact where I think maybe Tycho's out. Yeah, Tycho might be out. Should be, because it's like sort of middle road on the moon. Yeah, I'm looking up at it and I think I see where we are. Yep. Okay. So we have a question here that says, can Neowise be seen tonight? So with our equipment right now, we wouldn't really get much out of it. We probably could do some nice long exposures, but we don't quite have the equipment to show that to you live yet. But as far as seeing with your eye, there's not really a great chance of that. With the moon out and also it just becoming dimmer and dimmer, it's maybe with binoculars you could get a good glimpse at it, but even that would be pretty dim compared to what it once was. So that comet has seen, at least for this trip around the sun, that comet's pretty much done for some significant viewing. But, you know, in 6,000 years, who knows? When it comes back around, maybe they'll put on another show. Okay, so let's move on to another spot. That's Americrisium. And that right there. think my brain might be switched around here. I gotta make sure I understand where I'm going. Because of course the telescopic view should be flipped. Yeah, okay. So as we move up here, yep, we're actually moving down in the true image. Those speckles there are the Mare Indarum and Mare Spumans. And that bright crater, I'll zoom the image in so you know where I'm looking. That bright crater right there, it's a smaller one. That one is called, oh, how about that? Petite crater. P-E-T-I-T crater. It's actually named after someone, named after Alexis Therese Petit, French physicist in 1771. And I am not, I'm sure you can tell, I am not pulling this from my head. My memory's not that good. But I have there's another fancy app called Moon Globe. It's actually a really good map of the moon. Really full featured. Okay, so we're on the Mare Spumans there. And then the large mare next to it is Mare. Mare? I don't even know if I want to try and pronounce that one. Who's it named after? Well, we'll just call it by its translated name, the Sea of... I don't even know if I know that word. Either fecundity or fecundity. One of the two. I apologize if I'm butchering pronunciation. Let's see. Let me see if I can tell you where it will be tonight. The comet. If you were going to go and try and look. See 2020. 2020. Oh yeah, it's moved actually. Yeah, that makes sense though. It's moved quite a bit away from the Dipper. It's actually in the constellation Coma Berenices, which is a pretty dim one. It's not really easy to see, but it's almost due west at this point. Pretty low to the horizon, but due west. As far as other comets that are coming up, it's very hard to predict which ones will put on a show like Neowise. There are quite a few comets out there right now that you can look at through a scope and tell that it's like this little blurry blob, but they're not as interesting to look at, of course. Yeah, but of course we don't have to wait for this one to come back around. There'll be others that do swing by close to the sun. It's just you have to have the right conditions for it to show up in the sky and brighten up in magnitude and just be in the right position. So this one was great, and I was happy that I got to see it. As I mentioned before, it was my first naked eye comet, but there'll be others for sure. Just not this one. Neowise is, it's not going to be good again until it comes back around to the sun. All right. Let's keep traveling the moon here. Get my bearings again. Mare Spumans, yep, okay. So that mare is the mare of fecundity, C of fecundity, or fecundity. Okay, that one goes up. Well, let's go down. That large crater right there, other way. Looks like it's Langrenus crater. There's a couple of smaller craters near it as well. Then there is a spattering of craters, really cool spattering of them, right in the sea there. Oops. Okay. And right next to that spattering of craters, if I zoom in, right there is Mare Nectaris, I believe, or Nectaris. Yeah, you can see the crater within that one. Okay. All right, let's go down. At least in our image on the... Actually, wait, let's go over this way. Because if that's Mare Nectaris... Which, yep, it has those sort of three craters in a line right here. Sort of line right up. And there, the ejecta you see from them also lines right up. Sort of neat. This crater down here let's go down. Looks like it's Theophilus. And that feeds into a larger mare here, which is Mare, or Mare Tranquillitatis, or yep, and which is of course the Sea of Tranquility. So here's the Sea of Tranquility. And then the Sea of Serenity as well. At a certain point, it all starts to become very abstract, especially for someone who has not often toured and identified each thing yet. There we are at the terminus. Or actually, no, that's the edge of the moon, I think. It's hard to tell. Let's go back around the edges. I think this is Tycho. Let's see if I look up there. Yeah. Okay, so if you're, let's see, if you're looking for NEO-eyes here, I think I said western sky, yep. Actually, if you look for the bright star Arcturus, which Arcturus should be pointing due west right now, and of course you can find Arcturus by using the handle of the Big Dipper. The handle of the Big Dipper arcs to the bright star Arcturus. Arcturus is pointing due west, and the comet is, again, as I mentioned, pretty low in the sky at the moment. So you need a good clear horizon. It's closer west. It's not northwest. It's, if anything, it's northwest west. It's mostly westward. But yeah, if you look for Arcturus, it's about halfway between the horizon and Arcturus. We added some detail in the chat there to help you out as well. Let's keep traveling around the moon. Do a little bit more of this. See, we're already approaching 11 o'clock now. I do want to view Saturn. For Saturn, I will probably just leave it on the view and go set up the next camera equipment I want to try tonight. Get that going for you. Yeah, it looks like a skull. To me, at least. So the eyes and the rounded head. There's actually a speckling of you can see that. There's a speckling of craters right below the nose crater, I suppose you call it. Small speckling of craters that sort of make up some teeth. I wonder if that actually is... I've never heard about that, but maybe there is a well-known face like that in the moon. I know there's the face that you can make up sort of with the seas, but that's a little bit different. That's made up of a small sea and a batch of craters. That's pretty cool. When you look at the edge of the moon, you can see the mountain ranges, showing you that the moon is not a flattened surface. It's very mountainous. Really nice views though. We'll pause there for a moment. Yeah, see, we should be able to see. Let's get my bearings here again. Okay, so there is, oops. Yeah, let's go find Copernicus crater before we take off from the moon onto Saturn. Oh, there is Proclus crater. That points into the star, points into Sea of Tranquility. Down here, it's the Sea of Tranquility. Okay. We want to take, see what craters we have around here. All right. We're gonna hunt for it, and we're gonna find it. That's it. Yeah, with the two bumps. Yep, that's Copernicus. Maybe I'll take a video of that too. Do some surface image stacking. I haven't really done much of that yet, so we'll give it a try and see what we come up with. That is Copernicus crater. All right, let's see if I can, I'm gonna play around with the exposure settings and see if I can get a good shot of it. Ooh, too much. Don't want to overexpose it. Here, there we go. That should be good. Good balance. I think that's as good as I can get it. So let's center one more time. Oh, I gotta go on the moon setting. That's why it's not tracking as well as it could. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Let's give it a try here. Hey, John. Yep, we're on the moon. We're looking at Copernicus crater, appropriate for us, of course, named after Nicholas Copernicus, who our science center is, of course, named after as well. Oh, and Roy wants me to find Kepler. Okay, we shall try. Oh, it's right. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember now. It's right nearby. Okay. We will go to Kepler next. I did have to cheat a little bit. But the real challenge, I think, is on the zoomed in and flipped view here, trying to get my perspective. Okay. Let's see what we got. All right, those are some good views of Copernicus. So we'll say goodbye to Copernicus and on to Kepler. And then I think we'll bounce over to Saturn while I go set up the other camera. Yeah, maybe. Will it be into the terminus? That might be the case. Or is that Kepler right there? Is that it? Do we get Copernicus and Kepler in the same image? Yeah, I guess that's it. Cool. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. It's just dipping into the terminus there. All right, let's go to Saturn. All right, I'll move the dome here. sure I'm all the way zoomed out. Move the dome just a bit more. There we go. Alright, now I gotta bump up my exposure and my gain. And let's find it. Oh, gotta increase the rate. Nope, that's not working. So we will try the wiggling it around here and seeing if it'll come through. Oh, there it was. Ooh, some good moon orientations tonight. That's cool. Some really interesting ones, actually. Oh, losing it again. There we go. All right. Yeah, that's actually some really cool, a cool moon layout. What do we have here? Give us some idea. Well, we can see the moons, and then we'll switch to the ring view. Yep, I figured. That looks like Titan is the one off to the right-hand side, solitary one off to the right. Then we have Tethys at the bottom. Yep, Tethys at the bottom. Mimas is the first one at the top. And Dione is the second one at the top. Or it could be, actually, Mimas might be too dim. And it's actually pretty close. So also maybe it's more like Dione is that first one and Rhea is the second one. That might be more likely. If I move the view down a bit, maybe we can see if there's anything else out there. Rhea, Titan. Yeah, and then Iapetus is the one that's further out. That one you just see moving around there. Cool. That's a fun orientation. Ooh, ow. Sorry, just knocked my head against the... Oh, it was the finder scope. It's stuck in place, though. That's pretty good. One thing you got to keep aware of when you're observing at night. Okay, let's get some detail here. That's pretty good. I'm going to bump the gain up, though, and then lower the exposure here. Yeah, not bad. Not a bad night. You can see some of the banding. That's about as focused as it's going to get. I don't even want to play with it too much because we had it really crisp focused on those craters, so I don't think we're going to improve much here. But yeah, Cassini division's coming in and out. Not too bad. Not too bad. I'm going to put it back on the planetary tracking. And I think I will leave it on this view. It should stay pretty stable. I'll zoom it out a little bit so we have more time if it does start to shift. But yeah, I will be back in just a few minutes. So if you have any questions, you can, of course, put them in the chat. And I'm not the one monitoring chat. tonight. So feel free to ask questions, and we'll still continue to answer. And yeah, let me go set up my other camera. I will be back maybe in 10 minutes. Okay, I have returned. And Saturn's still looking pretty good here. Yep. Maybe it got a little better because it's also rising up in the sky too. Actually, oh, it's pretty, yeah, it's pretty high up there at this point. I don't think I'm gonna, well, okay, here's one thing I will try as far as imaging goes. I will see if I can get the moons at the same time as the planet. Some of that data is there, but yeah, I mean, you're also dealing with, the planets are big, or not the planets, the moons are big, especially like Titan. Titan's the second largest moon in the solar system, only smaller than Ganymede, but you're also dealing with them being much further away. And I haven't quite worked up, I mean, you could, my thinking was like you could definitely Photoshop or overlay two different images on top. So you could take one image of Saturn and then one image of the moons, or like a stacked image of Saturn and one, or a stacked image of the moons, put them together. But maybe that's the way you do it. But I haven't researched it enough myself, and it doesn't look like it's going to be possible with this setup, because I really have to bump up the gain and exposure to even see them. Oh yeah, doesn't look like we have great chance of that. Okay, well, why don't we shift on over to the prototyped views. So the first one we're going to try with a DSLR, not DSLR, it's a mirrorless camera. And we're going to try and get some wide angle shots. And I think I'll be able to keep my connection here. So I will take you with me. We're gonna, and then we will try some really wide field views with the ZWO, and we're gonna use a different lens on that one. So let's try that. You're gonna come with me on, just not quite outside, because in order for me to stay connected to the Wi-Fi, I have to stay in the observatory. So I have a really long active cable extender, and that should be long enough for us to try this out. So I'm going to close my software here. Yep. Okay, so it might be on a static image now of what it last saw. I'm going to unplug this because I have enough battery for the outside stuff. I charged just about up to 100% again, which is nice. That was a pretty quick charge. I'm going to unplug the ZWO. I will eventually come back for it, but I don't need it just now. The case is kind of stuck. There we go. All right, let's see. I'm going to watch my wireless connection. Make sure we don't lose it. I think it should stay with us while we are just inside the door here. So we're moving to... Yep, still looks good. Still a strong signal. All right, and actually, yeah, you probably can't see, but just back there is the ham radio room. That's where I am right now. Plug this on in. Let's see if I can get this software going. Yep, that's the one I want. Okay. Bear with me here while I switch you on over from the ZWO software to this remote imaging software. I guess a similar thing, right? We want to click on this and switch it over to remote. Where is it? I don't see it. It's not showing up. It's weird. Try again. Imaging. Is this it? Nope. It's just a little icon. Ah, that's the one. I'm gonna fit this to screen. There we go. Okay, so right now we are actually focused on the moon. And if I zoom in here, yep. Oh, there's the moon. Can I move it around a little bit? Yep, there we go. And I'm teaching myself this software right now as we speak. I gotta play around with. I had the chance to play around with it over the past few days, but there is the moon up close. And maybe we can play around with the detail here. Oh, that's going the other way. I want to go this way. Adjusting the shutter speed so we can get a better view. Interesting. All right, so yeah, there's a full view of the moon. Oh, and I can adjust the manual focus as well. That's getting out of focus. We want to go the other way. Nice. Cool. All right. All right, so that's the moon, and we didn't get to see a full view of it like that earlier, so that's what it looks like tonight as far as its phase goes. Now I want to try and get some stars, and I really should move. Geez, the sky out tonight is really blown out by the moon, because of course we are getting close to full moon, and like we have no chance of seeing the Milky Way based on where the moon is right now. It is just blowing that out completely. Maybe if we try imaging it, we might get something, but the problem is that area of the sky is just so bright, so I don't know if there's a good chance of that. But I do want to try and get some star data, and at the very least, I know this software is running pretty well, and remotely streaming to you, so I'm glad of that. But let's go back to our regular view here. That's the normal view of the camera right now. And let's see if we can get some stars. We're going to increase the shutter speed and increase the aperture. So what we're doing right now, the number's dropping, but that's the focal ratio, and right now we are dropping it. I think maybe we'll try to 3.5, is it? Yeah, 3.5. So that means it's letting more light into and onto the sensor. And then we'll increase the shutter speed, which is the amount of time the sensor is being exposed to that light. We can adjust this. You can keep pushing it. Oh, that's a pretty good live update. So there you can see our tree line. Where is our ISO set at? Oh, it's auto. Let's set the ISO. Ooh, oh my god. That's a massive number. All right. Well, that's not what we want. We don't want it to be that high. We'll bring it down some. 16,000 ought to do. Gee, 200,000 is kind of crazy. I'm going to brighten up my screen a bit so you can see me a little bit better. There we go. Okay. So we're seeing now Jupiter and Saturn in there. And you can see the handle just below the moon of Sagittarius. And we know Sagittarius, the nozzle of the teapot, points into the Milky Way. So as I said, not a great chance of imaging that, but you know, it's worth a try. We're at half a second shutter speed. Usually you have about 30 seconds to work with when you're not on a tracking mount. So let's keep going. Maybe we'll start with a 15 second. Can I just put 15? 15? Nope, won't let me. Oh, is it taking a picture? Sounds like it is. Yep, it did. Oh my goodness. That was only a 4 second. It looks like daytime. Oh my gosh. Well, that's what the moon does. Look at the trees. Wow. I mean, it's kind of cool, but oh, you can see the playground. Oh, you know what? Actually, on your end, you might not be seeing this. So let me see if I can get that. I'm going to make a new scene with this other window on top of it, so you can actually see what I'm doing there. Because right now you're just hearing me react to something you don't even know what I'm talking about. So we'll call this image viewer. And we will do a window capture. See, it doesn't show up at first. It's so strange. This is just called viewer, right? Yep. Remote is there. Viewer, there it is. Okay, so this is what I was looking at just now. Let me fit this to my screen. There we go. So this is the image, the 4 second exposure. So I might have to turn down the ISO. But it also just might be the sky we're dealing with tonight. You can see some of the stars on the edge. You can see Jupiter and Saturn in there, and you can see the massive glow of the moon, and you can see part of the science park, the playground, that we're currently is under construction. All right, let's go back to, I'm gonna move this up to here. We'll go back to the remote viewer. So this is the idea that I really want to explore more, is doing some long exposures, because as you know, and this is what you can't quite experience in person at Kopernik unless you're doing what you're doing right now, which is watching a computer screen and the camera feed from that computer. Jupiter and Saturn and the moon, you can get really awesome views of with just your eye, with direct viewing through a telescope. But then you start to get in the dimmer objects like nebulas and star clusters and galaxies, and those are just so dim our eye can't collect enough light to give us a decent image. You'll see it, and you'll see a really cool fuzz spot, and there's nothing like light that is travel light years away to hit your retina. That is really cool. I mean, that's fascinating, and a fascinating concept. However, if you want to see detail, you need a camera. And this is what I really want to explore more, is giving you these live views of what a camera can see, and with long exposures as well. So if we could actually get a good image tonight without the moon in the way, we'd be able to pull a lot of detail out of that area of the sky and see the Milky Way. And of course, that's not quite possible tonight, but I wonder if we play around a little bit with the settings. Eventually we'll move to a different area in the sky too, and that should help as well. But let's see if we can change the ISO and bring that down some more. Because on the previous cameras, 6400 was, no, actually it might have been even less than that. So let's try 6400. We'll decrease the aperture a little bit. Not too much though. Let's try 4.5. And we will increase the shutter speed. Let's try to 8. And let's see what kind of data we pull here. Now, there's the snapshot button. The nice part about this too is I'm a distance away from the camera. I'm not making any vibrations around it. It's doing its thing, giving me the chance to just watch, just take care of the imaging aspect of things. Whew! Okay, let's switch over to that image viewer. That was the picture I just took. Yeah, there's no... What is that? Is that a cloud? Oh, yeah, I see it. There is a thin, wispy cloud right there. We'll zoom into the picture. Yep. Just a tiny little cloud. But you can see the stars. I mean, they're there. There's a... It's fascinating we can even get this from the sky right now. That's one of the clusters. I'm not sure exactly which one, but that's one of the star-forming regions in the Milky Way. Big, nice cluster of stars there. There's another one over here. So we know we're looking into the Milky Way. It's just, there's no Milky Way. Because it's daytime, apparently. Oh, boy. All right, let's try into a... maybe, like, we'll go... Maybe it's worth trying Zenith. Yeah, Baloo, I think... Yeah, you're right. On a moonless sky, I think we'll be able to get some really nice detail out of it. But yeah, tonight maybe not so much. We'll try a starless area of the sky. So I'm going to move the view back to the remote viewer. Look at that. You can even see the cloud right there in the remote view. I didn't see that earlier. Cool. All right, but I'm going to go out and adjust the camera to a moonless area. Maybe we can just get Andromeda. All right, let's see what we get here. Because I pointed it at, you can see the dome in the image right there. And I pointed it at where Andromeda should be and Cassiopeia as well. So we'll see what we can get. I got it to just above the light there too. I had just enough angular displacement to get it above there. All right, let's see what we can grab. I'm just gonna do where wow, you can see one part of the W, the rightmost part of Cassiopeia. Let's see what we get when we image here. Let's take a snapshot just as it is, and we'll adjust from there. Oh, wow. This is my first time using this camera outside. And in the night. And we're still dealing with moon glow. And actually the Vestal Binghamton Nebula, the Northern Nebula that we call it, is in this image too. But let's see. I'm going to show you it here. You're getting my live reactions too. Where is it? image viewer. There we go. So again, looks like daytime, but it's not because you can see stars in the sky. How's that? You can see our dome, the 20-inch dome in the lower right of the image. Okay. And if we zoom in here, look into Cassiopeia. There's the W. And I think I might have captured. It's hard to tell. It's 8-second exposure, so it could be looks like it's fairly constant light. So probably a satellite. Yeah, I don't know if that's a meteor, but it could be. Usually meteors, you'll notice some distinct dimming. I don't really see that on that one, but could be. Look how many stars there are, though. Jeez. Even in this daylit sky, almost. You just pan around the image and just star after star after star. It's amazing. This is the part where it's like fascinating what cameras can these sensitive sensors can pick up. But look at that. It's Andromeda. Again, it would look a lot better if we didn't have a moon. Yeah, a lot of this, what we're seeing here is down here, this glow is from the city, from Binghamton and Vestal, and right next to the big antenna there. That's not the moon, that's city lights. So that's something we always have to face. But the general blue glow of the sky is the moon. But yeah, lots of stars. And Andromeda's looking nice. Just wish it was picking up a little bit more detail than that. And it would, if it wasn't moon, if there wasn't a moon. I really like the dome though. That's looking great. It looks like, as far as like, you know, taking a picture of the dome and the building a little bit, that all looks like it's daylight. And again, part of that is because I am collecting a lot of light from the moon reflecting off the dome. But I imagine, you know, if it was a moonless night, it would pick up some decent ambient light. Maybe it'd be a little bit more redder, or a red tinge because of the exterior lights we have reflecting off of it. But I'm excited to see what it can do. Yeah. Maybe we'll try one more position in the sky, because again, we're limited on what we can do tonight. I'm mostly just practicing, and we'll see more of this in the future, for sure. Let's go back to the remote viewer. It's like night and day, right? When you switch back to the remote view, this is like, long exposures are awesome. You get so much light collection out of them. This is a mirrorless camera, yeah, Corey. This is the Sony A7. 2 or 3, I can't remember off the top of my head. One of the two. Try Zenith. Yeah. That way we'll get out of the nebula. You also get away from the moon. Okay, we see one star up there. I'm guessing that's Vega. Let's just take a picture and see what we get. My guess is a lot of stars. Mind you, this is only an 8-second exposure. I haven't even pushed it to 30 yet. And I don't think it's worth it to do so tonight, but we could try if we find that the image is still kind of dark at zenith. Ah, we're getting a little Milky Way there. That's the dimmer part of the Milky Way too. Yeah, we could push it. We'll get, I mean, it'll look gray, but that's okay. Let me show you though. I keep forgetting I have to switch. I'm sorry. I'll get used to that. Image viewer. There we are. So here's the full view. The image I just took. Lots of stars, as I said. I'm not really looking for any particular targets tonight. This was an 8-second exposure at 6400 ISO. Not bad. Whew. Look at all the stars in the Milky Way. It's fantastic. And you can see there, it might be coming over. Yeah, it looks like it's coming over on the stream. It's translating well. You can see some of the lighter and darker patches of the Milky Way. We're just getting it as we look up at the zenith there. Tons and tons of stars. So cool. I think this is working well. Yeah, I think for our moonless nights coming up, and as we head into mid-August, we'll break this out some more and continue trying it. Let me take a longer exposure at zenith here. I want to see what that does. We haven't even pumped the ISO up. We're still at a, well, let's bring the aperture back, open it up all the way. I think 3.5 is all the way, right? Yep. And we'll bump this up. Where do we want to go? What sounds good? 15 seconds? 20 seconds. Let's try 20. All right. Commence the 20-second exposure. We'll leave the ISO as is. All right, here it comes. Just heard the shutter go. It's not really a shutter. It is a shutter, but not a mirrored shutter. Ah. Yep. Yep. Oh boy. All right, let me show you what I got. I think I pushed it too much. Oh, yep, that's the moon. That's the moon. Got more stars, though. Maybe a satellite, too. Not the kind of night you want to use this on, though. Couple of satellites, or maybe a couple meteors? Yeah, maybe. Getting tons more stars, though. Yeah, Stacy, yeah, it's only, our only problem tonight is the moon. When we get a moonless night, we'll have a great chance to image the Milky Way and show it to you live. It's just tonight, the moon is just overexposed, which I suspected. Like, you really can't do much with the Milky Way when there's a moon. Yeah, I think this is what we'll do. We'll sort of Blue. We'll use this for the long exposure Perseids and just get a bunch of them in one image, hopefully. And we'll also be doing some direct live view, a video feed. And that's what we're going to try next of the sky using the ZWO. We'll put a really 180-degree wide field, might be 150-degree. But either way, it's a really wide field view of the sky. It's almost an all sky image. And we'll see what we can pull from that. And that'll probably only show up the brighter ones, but still, we'll have two different ways to view it. Maybe we could try two separate streams. But yeah, some stuff to try out here, mess around with. It's real, but I can see a great portion of the Milky Way there, and that's not something I was able to do before. Like this is the dim part of the Milky Way at zenith, and I'm picking up a great amount of it. Of the dark banding and those dim brighter bands. It's really cool. I'm excited to try this more. Let me go back to the remote view. I don't think it's getting late here. I wasn't necessarily intending to push it to midnight, but of course that's how these things go. So what I would like to do to end the show is to try the ZWO camera. We're going to do a all sky view using the ZWO camera. So I'm going to eventually disconnect this one here, and we'll switch over to the ZWO. So let's go do that. I'll still be sort of around. I'll leave my mic on in case I have anything worth saying, but I got to go into the 6-inch and get the ZWO first, and then I'll attach it to the computer. Okay. I think maybe, yeah, it looks like the stream dropped out on me. Sorry about that. If anyone's still watching, I think the connection was lost. We dropped connection here for a moment, but we're back. I will continue to stream for a moment. Let me see if I can get my feed back in. Whoa, there we go. Hi, I'm back. Yeah, I guess either my Mac overheated, or I just lost connection. I'm not really sure, but it decided to stop streaming. But it wasn't too difficult to resume it, so I'm happy about that. Another thing we know now. Let me switch my camera over. Oh, and I gotta go get a tripod from inside too. That's the last thing we need. All right, so I'll be right back. Okay, let's hook up this bow. Oop, knocking my chair here. Alright, we're going to hook up this bow camera and we're going to get an all-sky view. Hopefully. May need to try to focus, but it should work. Okay. We need to plug this in. Alright, some troubleshooting here. Get it to work. And again, if you're just joining in again, the stream did drop out for a moment because the software quit on me. But I got it back and running. Okay, let's try this bow camera now. Let's see here, gotta bring that up. Alright, so there's our regular old ZWO view. Now I gotta play around with the settings to see if I can start catching some starlight. There's our domes. I'm gonna bring the gain down if I can. Yeah, there's some stars. We got some really bad dead pixels though. So I gotta try and avoid those. Yeah, this might work. Oh. That's with the gain at its highest. Yeah, that'll show brighter meteors. Because that's a pretty regularly updating view. Yeah. That should maybe work. Okay. Obviously, we're not going to see much tonight, but that gives you a little tease on what we will see when we have some nice moonless nights. There's still some dead pixels in there that we don't really want to see, but that's not bad. You can see there's a lot of glare from the moon, though, on the lens. I think this is a 150. Yeah, because we're definitely not getting the whole sky, so I'm pretty sure this is a 150 degree lens. So we might try and find something different to try and get a full view later down the line, but this might suffice for a live updating view of any Perseid, bright Perseids that come by. Either way, we have that remote viewing that we can do on the other camera. Okay, so we got to see Jupiter and Saturn and the moon tonight. Thanks for tuning in, sticking around for the evening. I think we have some good success, and we'll be able to get some good images of especially with this camera here. I think we could potentially hook it up to a telescope and maybe pull some good detail from nebula and galaxies. Get a better zoomed in view of those. So thanks for joining us tonight, and we will see you again next time we have some good clear skies. See you then, everyone.